Let's see if he has some magic in him. In the top left, it is our Blue Protoss from Abydos NightMare. Abydos is a new team of players. I'm pretty sure made so they can just play in WTL. Creator, NightMare, SOS, Cure. It's cool to see. Bottom right side will be the red Terran player from Onside. This is Maru. And hey, Jay Walking Time, thank you so much for the 11-month resub on the Prime. Also wanted to say thank you to Warvy1111. Well, that was just me signing up on my 1,000 plus account. You know, gotta subscribe to myself to stay popular, you know, guys. Thank you so much, appreciate it. Guys, this is our last best of 3 of the day, but after this, we are gonna do some sponsored content. We've got a Twitch bounty for Resident Evil 4, which bounty comes out in a couple of days, so we're gonna be playing that for an hour when we wrap up the StarCraft today. Twitch bounties work based off of viewership, so if you enjoyed the stream today and you want to support the channel for free, consider leaving the stream on for a little while once we finish, and you count as a view during the sponsorship. It helps us out monetarily, which helps us to run more tournaments in the future as well. So you guys can check that out. If it's scary, I'm going to be terrible because I am... I'm terrible with scary games. So basically, Wardy is selling out in the biggest way possible, you know? So we'll see how that goes. But that will be happening coming up after the StarCraft. For now, you follow a probe across the map. No SCV scout here from Maru. He will play this blind as he does open double gas. It doesn't necessarily need an SCV scout. Opening double gas alone pretty much makes you safe against most things. So I don't think that's too much of an issue immediately. And hey, D-Tubs 1017 hitting us up with the Prime sub as well. Thank you so much. Yeah, been a fun first day again, guys. I'll remind you that we're back tomorrow with Group B. The opening matches there include Classic, Special, Stats, Cure, Hero Ragnarok, Beyond Solar. It's going to be a day. It's going to be very fun, so make sure you drop by tomorrow for a very fun day, a day of Group B. And then the Korean Royale will resume over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday for more matches. The 2 days in between, what you're going to do? Well, tune into the WardiTV Winter Championship. I'll talk a bit more about that later on, though. Stargate goes down, that's NightMare's opener, and Maru just going to move a factory over to be in line with Starport, get this base set up nicely, and it is going to be a Hellion here, so not straight to the Cyclone or anything like we saw him doing against Creator. So that already is a little bit of a difference as our command center builds up on this main base, and Reaper just having a bit of a venture around on the south side, trying to see just what else it can get up to. To depths, I'm gonna go chase the Reaper down. And they are gonna get that kill, so that's a nice little grab. We are playing into Phoenix here from NightMare. And the one Hellion is actually gonna find a probe running across the map, decides not to go after that. Don't know if he just didn't notice it, or if he's just desperate to try and find info on whether there's a third base or not, which might motivate Maru into certain decisions following on from here. So that is a possibility as this Hellion sneaks in, gets up into the main base. And he's going to get shot down by the Adept there as well, so that will indeed fall. Phoenix heads down to the south. Going to go to the bottom right. Twilight Council coming up about halfway done. So that's going to be coming through too. And there's a Widowmine that hits the Phoenix, which is going to bring it low HP. Is now on the getaway attempt as the Marine drop wanted to obviously try and chase that down. Now continuing into more Phoenix, and can the Marines intercept? Ooh, very nearly. The Phoenix from NightMare will be microed correctly, kept alive, kept out of trouble. We're following up with that Twilight Council, and the couple Marines, the Viking, will press forward already too. Just coming out to the front and keeping this probe of NightMare at a distance. And I'm just going to go straight at charge. The Phoenix charge, very good at kind of defending early pushes, and Maru is kind of setting up for an early push. No, Marines, Tank, Liberator is all of the makings of let's go across the map and try and set up a bit of a siege. If charge is done for that and you can just charge onto that location, I actually feel like Maru might just melt. But it's obviously about the right amount of units as well, not just having charge, but having the right amount of zealots that you don't just kind of die yourself. getting to the point where it's very difficult to make your way through that amount of zealots is definitely something that Maru's got to aim for here. As we do have the few additional gateways coming online. 4 gateways currently in production, Cyclone, Widow Mines, and a few Marines coming out. It's going to go boosting across the left-hand side. Maru here with the medevac, tanking a few SCVs. I'm genuinely a bit worried for him, though. I mean, the timing right now is good, but let's see if he can actually... Let's see if we can actually do something meaningful in time, as the Zealots actually do already have charge, so we go in pretty quickly. I didn't think that she was going to have charge that quickly. We get rid of the first Cyclone. The tank obviously being lifted up. There's not much left on the ground, though, from NightMare, and Maru has a 23-10 army supply lead, as we are going to be just able to keep this position going. So Phoenix have to back it up. We get a few more Zealots warped in, but this is getting to the scary part where there's going to be a little bit more bio. We're getting a bit of a wall set up with these bunkers as well. The Zealots do try and reach across to the siege tank. The second tank shows up but is not sieged. Marine count's getting low, and we actually lift up a lot of the Marines with the Phoenix. The tank doesn't deal with the Zealots very quickly, and now we're going to get a full cleanup, in fact. So there is the defense from NightMare. The Phoenix coming in clutch. The Zealots getting there in the first as well. I wonder if the first time around it would have been better if we just lifted up a whole bunch of Marines too. Because obviously that worked really well this time. Last time we lifted up the siege tank and the Cyclone initially as well. So a bit of a different priority on what the Phoenix did from NightMare. Now we move into the natural. A couple of SCVs beginning to drop. Marine turns around, putting some damage back onto these Phoenix, and the group of Zealots from NightMare looking as though they might be ready to run up this ramp into the natural. In we go, as the Phoenix will lift up a siege tank. That will get lifted. That will get, well, repaired for a few moments, but the SCVs are dropping. There's no answer to these Zealots. The Phoenix don't have another lift, so maybe the tank can clean up, but already 22 dead SCVs, 24, and this tank's going to die as well. Maru is going to die as well, and NightMare swoops across the map, steals a win off of Maru, and Maru is going to go down a game. As NightMare shown us that he can mean business, and he's not to be taken lightly, especially if you enjoy the games. It's the best way to potentially get more of them. In the top left, it is going to be the blue Protoss player. This is NightMare. And in the bottom right, our red Terran down a game. Didn't think I'd be saying that today. It's Maru. Well, now needs to play without mistakes, otherwise could be trouble. Couple SCVs is popping out, refinery coming in, gateway building on the main base. I mean, do you have the probe around? Do get scouting as well in these early stages. Probe just continues out down to the bottom right. Rax is going to finish it up. Zealot is on the way, and the Cybernetics core will begin from NightMare in the main base as well. So just getting that started up. All producing for the moment. There's the next coming down in the natural also. Like I say, so far, so good. The next comes down. Pylon gets going. The probe back up to the high ground, into the main base. Just going to see that SCV going to go drop a bunker in the front lines as well. So Maru, for the first time, actually going to go one gas expand in TvP. He's obviously been going for a lot of the double gases, getting that early factory up, but going to go a little bit more of a standard route here in terms of just getting the expansion up quickly and working forward from there. Reaper makes its way back over to the right-hand side and gets over to the right. I'll have a little bit of a peek around. Gonna hop up into the natural expansion again. Just checking there's no proxies, making sure there's nothing we have to be, immediately concerned about, because he hasn't SCV scouted. It's just trying to nullify any possibilities of things that he's missed, things he doesn't notice. Stuff like that is important to just guarantee you're not going to run into issue with, basically. So, yeah, just being very careful, being very safe. Quick bunker because you don't know what's coming your way either, and just prepping for the absolute worst. One of those scenarios as well where obviously, you know, Maru can look at this game and match up and probably say, well, hey, look, I'm kind of the favorite in this, as long as I don't die early, probably. The longer this game goes, typically the better it should be for me, but, you know, let's just make sure we don't die, you know? I mean, maybe you could have argued you should SCV scout then, but he's done every part other than the SCV scout with the fast bunker, with the Reaper moving around, so, yeah, I like it. Reaper with the move in the main is going to get a probe kill at least, so one probe goes down, now hunting for a second. Do we get that final shot? Yes, we do. Actually, the Reaper wasn't even a shot from death. It survived 2 more. But survived 1 more, then took a shot after. Bellyom, thank you so much for the 16-month resub on the Prime. Prime sub for some Prime SC2. We love it. Thank you so much. Appreciate the sub. And welcome back to the Wardy fam. Blink's on the way up. A couple of assimilators coming through here. I'm just going to be seeing that bunker with a handful of Marines inside. Just waiting out at the front as well. Just going to be having the Adept making a move. Obviously, information is key. NightMare as well. You'd like to have a rough idea of what's going on. Maybe if this Adept can move through, see a Marine count, see a tech unit or so. Just try and get some info, gather some news on what Maru is actually up to in this game. Because right now, you don't have any info to be working off of. You're completely blind on this opening setup, so yeah, I would love to try and figure that out and work through this as I adapt. Will patrol, and it's going to move over toward main base. A couple of shots go off. SCV's taking some damage, and we'll continue to take a few shots as we continue through that. Marines come in, they're going to clean out the Adept. At the same time, I wouldn't mind drop actually got 3 probes, so apologies guys. The wouldn't mind drop maybe a bit more exciting to see. Apologies on missing that, as just have the Robo Bay finishing up in a moment here from NightMare. So he'll play the Blink, he'll play the Robo Bay, and that's going to allow him to go to the Colossus and Blink Stalkers. As Blink finishes, obviously Stalkers can take some amount of position on the map, but this is a 3rd base now. Robo Bay done. It's not a ton of gateways or anything, so it's not a ton of Stalkers either, just really watching out here. And maybe we hop up over here. I don't hate that. 4 Stalkers obviously pretty good at just one-shotting some SCVs. So hopping up over here allows you to get a couple of kills. It's not overly committed, and you can obviously jump back down in a couple of moments too, so yeah, actually going to start working through his refinery, but the tank repositions. Time to leave, perhaps. Maybe a couple short shots to get the kill. Going to put some damage on the Raven, too. Maybe force a repair there. Really just trying to get the absolute most out of these Stalkers in every possible way. The medevac with the Widow Mine has been cruising around, as I don't believe has been able to drop and get another kill again just yet. But, yeah, lurking around, seeing if there's any other opportunity at any point. So far has not been the case. It's just gone out of there, which is a good thing too. Wouldn't mind and a medevac still alive. It can be used later in this game, later in these fights. Especially the medevac. Maybe the Widow Mine not so much, depending on the army composition, but yeah, I think you always take a medevac, and you can always put a Widow Mine in like a defensive position too. There's nothing wrong with that, so yeah, you definitely have options in that scenario. Stalkers will hop into the main, and they're going to go SCV hunting again, so these 4 Stalkers causing quite a lot of trouble. This time there's a couple of Marauders nearby. We're going to blink deeper in the main. There's going to be a recall out. We only get 1 more SCV for it. Now Maru immediately lifts. He's already going across the map with his main force. Obviously that group of 4 Stalkers blinking deeper didn't do anything to delay Maru's main attack. It just forced a couple of reinforcements to take a couple more moments before the medevacs began to boost across the map instead. Tank sieging there for a moment, and now we'll press on up. Gonna come to the front of this natural, and there are all 3 of those siege tanks. Well, getting sieged. Bang, bang. Colossus taking some hits, and the Bioforce will move forward. We've got the Raven, obviously, is huge in this scenario. Oh my god, it might not be needed if the tanks just blast down the initial Colossus, though, because, yeah, that was dangerous. Got to be really careful moving into this. The tanks repositions, so there's definitely a better time to move forward. There is the double Matrix, and, well, Maru not going to get greedy chasing. He knows that if he chases, he probably just doesn't catch up. So instead kind of hits the front and actually drops in the main. And I love the drop in the main, because that's a position you really have to run across to protect now, as NightMare, and Maru can work his way deeper into this main base, use the choke points against his opponent, and just guarantee some damage. I don't think it was really guaranteed anywhere else, so finds a way to get that. He is going to lose everything, though, so both full medevacs go down. One empty medevac gets out alive, so actually Maru losing a lot of units at the tail end of that. He's going to retreat away. 16 probes killed, sure, but yeah, it actually came with quite the expense at the end of the day. That felt as though it maybe could have been a little bit nicer. We'll continue to move down to the bottom right side. The Colossi, Stalkers, the Sentry, all moving across as well. Away they go. And a couple of siege tanks will be sieging. Starts unloading into the main base. Going to go after a few of these SCVs. Viking helping to chase the Prism out of here. Just going to be pushed back. Obviously, nice to keep the Prism away, because that's one of the things that will stop Maru from attacking the Prism showing up. So Maru does now move into the third base. Wasn't exactly the fastest third in the world, but he's done a good damage up to this point. He does have 1-1 against 0-0 upgrade-wise, so having that set of upgrades in his favor is a pretty big advantage too, in all honesty. So yeah, that is also a pretty fantastic little situation. A little drop in the top right side, and oh no, are we actually going to fly the Prism over these Marines? NightMare's paying attention. Fortunately, he does not let that Prism die. I don't think Maru noticed it. He didn't turn. He might not have had the vision. If NightMare sees it, because he's got a little bit of extra vision on a moving Prism than a single Marine would, for example. Yeah, okay, well, we do have the main army coming down here. Prism going to try and get into the natural. Could also then just drop in the natural and obviously team up with the units from the main force. It's kind of the benefit of this. The negative is obviously it's very easy to get over here, defend this position as the Terror, and then pull back to the front against the main army too. And generally you want to be trying to make your opponent's life difficult, although the Prism goes down, trying to get into the main base. Marines are positioned well there, and NightMare suddenly loses his presence on the map, because now he has to fork back with everything else, because he won't have reinforcements for the main army, and he kind of knows it. So yeah, just going to back away, accepting the fact that this is not going to go well for him. So you're going to see a couple of Disruptors there, potentially in some trouble. Going to dive forward. 2 Disruptor shots come in, a Marauder and a Marine. Going to begin to go down. Our Stalker's still pushing through and coming around the left-hand side. Here we go. Tanks will siege up. Disruptor fires. Doesn't connect. A couple Stalkers do go down. The tank siege as well. We've got EMPs to help work our way through those Archons. Once those Archons lose their shields, they're really not much of anything anymore. They may as well be High Templar without energy. They just don't do anything. Tanks on siege, pushing further forward. Really wants to try and siege up kind of towards this ramp a little bit, I'd imagine, and maybe try and work our way through this. Here we go. Bio position gets set up. Now we're going to see our Zealots going to start charging through. The couple of Archons getting to the front. That's where the EMP is. The Zealots flank the right-hand side. You want to kite away from this. You're not allowed. Disruptor lands on the siege tanks. Disruptors to the Bioforce. Split away from okay. Oh, the last Disruptor kind of second-guessed itself, and now the Disruptors are dying. Maru is chasing. Next Disruptor denied before it can connect, and Maru is up the ramp. He's chasing down the Colossus. The Disruptor dies as well, and NightMare is out of this game. He doesn't have the numbers anymore. In an explosive battle, both players losing a lot, but NightMare lost truly everything. And that was, well, that's one of those fights that really could have swung any which way with a different Disruptor shot or two, or missed EMP. Now Maru knocks down this base, and, well, NightMare's going to run probes away. He's going to try and muster up a defense, but yeah, we can see that Maru obviously has plenty behind this. He's not slipped up in macro. He's not slipped up in, economy back at home or anything. So yeah, it's really just kind of holding on to the lifeline of the Disruptors as NightMare falls back just into the natural expansion to try and survive. One more Disruptor shot doesn't quite get to land. And Bio Army still moving through. Super Battery active, but not any longer. I mean, obviously Maru's just reinforcing with a stream of units as well, so every moment his army's actually getting a little bit stronger here as well. The Vikings land to get the Disruptors in the background. And yeah, now all the Disruptors just died again. This is going to be the last Disruptor shot of the game. As that Disruptor shot goes off, now this Disruptor is very unlikely. If that Disruptor fires again, I feel like that's incredible, but I feel like that's, like I say, doubtful at the very best. As Maru would have targeted it down even if NightMare wasn't leaving the game. GG's. Maru ties the series 1-1 to take us to a game 3 of the best of 3. So, in the bottom left-hand side, we're going to start things off with the Blue Protoss that started this series off with an advantage, but has now let that slip. Let's see if we can find some magic again. It's NightMare in the bottom left corner. The right-hand side, the red Terran player from Onside Gaming is Maru. Game 3 of the series. It comes down to this. Can NightMare get a win on the first day of the event? Will Maru slip up and not grab the 2-0 we expect him to? No SCV Scout 17. Maybe you can SCV Scout after Barracks, but I feel like if the previous games show anything, it's probably just no SCV Scout here from Maru. Not super crazy, not super wild. There's a couple of probes just return back to the Nexus with some minerals, with some gas. Early on. Okay, we're coming up. And we do have the Reaper on the way on the Barracks as well. Let's just get that set up and ready to rumble. And it is just going to be our expansion low ground for a second time here from Maru, so going towards those expansions, not so aggressive anymore. Expand, expand, expand seems to be the plan as our SCV moves down the ramp, gets up a bunker, and commands them to build up on the natural as well. Away we go as a couple of the probes get down here too. Reaper just adventuring around there. Is the bunker going to finish up on the natural? As the bunker finishes, our command center is halfway done. And Marine will jump into that bunker, and Reaper from Maru moving out around to the right. Obviously, again, just being very cautious about potential proxies after not scouting initially. Just trying to make sure that's not something you're going to end up being at risk of dying to. Now the Reaper gets to come all the way across towards the bottom left. I'm gonna run it by into this natural, so in we go. There's a few probes here. They were like, no, don't think we're here, because he doesn't have a unit right now. He's gonna lose one and the Stalker pops, but already just a quick free kill. Not bad for Maru. Just jumps out with the Reaper, and I'm sure he'll be back for more. Whether that's an extra probe, or more likely just the attempt of scouting and picking up some proper information as to what continues happening in this game. The Adept is on the map on the other side, and Maru just bunkers up at the front, being pretty cautious about these things, not really leaving any openings or any weaknesses anywhere, and just being very safe and secure here early on as the Widowmine also coming up into play, and just trying to hide that too. Again, any information you can kind of keep away from your opponent is nice, as that is going to be a dead Adept, so Adept gets a little bit too committed in. I really wanted to try and figure out something going on based on the high ground vision, but just couldn't get enough of it to really justify it at the end of the day. And again, just turns out to be a little bit more costly than we might have initially imagined. Reaper's still moving around up here. Blink is going to finish on that Twilight Council. Prism moments away from popping out on this Robo facility. And our siege tank's halfway done as well. So again, that tank popping out. That Cleverbad finish up on the starport, and the medevac goes down the bottom right with a couple of Widow Mines as well. So away we go. Do have the Reaper making its way over to the left-hand side. Stalker's actually going to blink across. Gonna shoot that Reaper down, make sure that that's not going to be able to get up to too much. Again, denying any further info. It is just straight up blink from NightMare, but most notably 4-gate blink, which means a little bit more pressure than last time. It's not going to be as fast of a Robo Bay, and you know, you can still go Robo Bay beyond this, but it should be a bit slow because you're going to focus a bit more on really producing those Stalkers early, getting a good amount of Stalkers up, getting them into the action, getting them into the thick of it. That's got to be one of the targets here from NightMare as our Prism works its way around the upper side. Going to get around the back, unload in the back of this mineral line to start doing some initial bits and pieces of damage. Well, at least try to, but initially Maru is already in position, so the defense is already very good, not going to let slip. But now, here comes the rest of these Stalkers from across the map. Maru just not doing anything aggressive himself. Very happy to just play the very defensive game. The Raven going to keep track of the Prism as well, by the way, so making sure that's not going to sneak off anywhere at any point. Here comes some Stalkers. They're actually going to blink in the main because now they feel as though they're safe to do so. Give me a cancel on the third CC. He's going to go for the reactor on the starport. I don't hate that either, right? Reactors, I mean, I pretty much always commend going for a reactor. It's low enough HP to kill easily, it takes a long time to build, and it's expensive. 50 gas is not cheap, right? So, yeah, for how easy it is to build, for how easy it is to kill, it's one of the better things you can get. Now, look at this. Starport has to build a new reactor, so you get quite delayed in terms of how many medevacs you can get out, so that's a pretty serious one. I mean, reactor is 36 seconds. It's like a 30-second delay on, starport units, which definitely can have an impact. I think Maru was so determined to defend at the front, well, I guess in this case at the back end, that Prism, he really didn't defend on the side entry, although now these units are a little bit stuck. How do they get out? Ooh, they just somehow managed to find the blink. The Observer goes down. We lose one Stalker low ground as well, I believe, unless actually, I think it might have picked up in the Prism. I just saw the Observer's corpse kind of flicking around after instead. Again, that Storm still coming through here, and that charge also about to be finished up. Alright, did just scan across the map as well, looking for some additional info. We're on our way to Storm, so there's a little bit of extra tech on the way out. Switching up the kinds of splash damage that'll be available here. Post Academy, Armory. All of that just on the way up. That concussive shells is already producing here from the side of Maru as he begins to press forward. He's actually going to stim into those Stalkers. There's the Robo Bay now. We have got a third base up. Again, the priority here initially was a little bit more focused on kind of getting in towards this Storm. So, yeah, kind of a surprising follow-up when you've gone for these Stalkers, as we do hit some good Storms, but we also kind of sit in the Storms ourselves. So the initial Storms are a mix of feelings on those, I feel like. It was a little bit of good and a little bit of bad, as now a group of additional Zealots warp in here on the side of NightMare. Looks like he really wants to keep pressing this issue. Really wants to make something happen as he comes pushing on forward. A little bit of army poised out over on the left-hand side. Is going to recall back home as you have the Raven harassing. Actually kills 6 probes and the cannon, by the way. And Widowmine's now going to try and capitalize on this as well, trying to also deal some extra shots. The Stalkers, they get rid of the mines. They do not get rid of the medevac, which will sit and try and find an escape point a bit further down the line. The Raven's back, though, gets a few more kills. The Raven actually got 4 kills. The rest of the kills from the initial Widowmine drops, which is obviously quite nice. So again, some good damage being dealt initially. Medevac goes down as it tries to find its escape. However, you've kept your opponent pinned back, so now you get free movement across the map. This is just a chance to get across the other side without being slowed down at all. You don't have to deal with Stalkers shaving off the first couple of units of your army or anything, so that is generally a very good trade-off. That's generally a very good thing to have happen. As we move across to this third base, High Templar gets a feedback on a Ghost, which is honestly not bad. First Widowmines are doing decently, not a single Storm coming down in this battle though, and Maru on top of this third base, just starting to work his way through. There's another nice Storm, does hit a lot of the bio units. 16 probes down, counterattack as Zealots is going to clean up the entire natural mineral line. It becomes quite a serious base trade. We do have Disruptors on the side of NightMare, and they might be able to help him hold on just that little bit. Down to 2 bases against... Well, I don't want to say 2 bases. It's kind of 2 bases against 3 still, but obviously at least Maru does take some eco damage, which helps you along as NightMare. These fusels are starting to be cleaned up, though, and obviously this only from Maru still over here. That storm maybe not good enough. Widow Mines are going to get on top of the prism. How the hell did that happen? 9:45. I want to see what happened with these mines and how they got there, because that was... They just burrowed on top of the entire army. I don't know how they were in the middle of that entire Protoss force. That was ridiculous, no? That was insane. As we now chase down everything else, I think NightMare is down and out for the count. Oh, that mine was just... How did it get there? There was two of them just there. I don't know if they just unburrowed and then... Yeah, I'm going to have to check on that, guys. As Maru does pretty much clean up, and I think he's got this game and hence this series in his hands. But, wow. Disruptor shot fires. Bioforce is going to get chased down just a little bit, and it's going to be seeing the Bio going to try and get to the front again here. So forwards we go. Couple Zealots go charging through. The Marauder going to take some damage. It's Disruptor. Fires again. It's not going to get too much, man. Yeah, NightMare has absolutely nothing left, guys. Fair to say. This one is Maru's. And we are absolutely going to be seeing our game number 3 being Maru's. And he will win this series, unfortunately, 0-2 star from NightMare, but he's got easier days to come. Jeez. Alright, guys, I want to... 9:45. I just want to see where the hell that Widow Mine came from. Like, that was just bonkers to me, no? These mines... So the mines... Okay, the mines were just, like, here, and they just started walking forward, and he never attacked them. So they just get to burrow and blow up the prism. That's insane, no? That was kind of wild. Those mines were actually huge, because blowing up the prism gets rid of the High Templar and some of the additional storms that would have been available there. So yeah, that actually was a pretty big connection, to say the least. GG's.